So, according to the village's comprehensive land use plan and the recently adopted Whittier Creek Neighborhood Plan, the property was identified as being in the governmental and institutional district. And so we took steps to make those modifications so that property would be consistent with the plans and the maps that we had already put into play. On March 10, 2008, the Plan Commission held a hearing and recommended that the board approve the zoning map amendment to rezone that property into the I-1 district. On March 17, 2008, the board tabled the zoning map amendment at the request of the property owner in order to give the staff some time to reevaluate some of the language within the I-1 district. And the staff has done that. And so both items are before you this evening, the amendment of the comprehensive plan and map, as well as the text of the I-1 district. And the language change that we came up with, that was part of the public hearing process before the Plan Commission, was that we would include the reference that the retail sale of any of the following goods or products is a permitted use in the I-1 district, provided that the retail area is less than 2,000 square feet, and that the retail use was in operation as of April 21st, 2008, and further provided that the retail use does not cease its operations for more than 12 consecutive months. And these were some additional uses that we've added to the I-1 district. Antiques, apparel, art supplies, audio recordings, bakery goods, books, candy, cameras, and photographic supplies, cards, cosmetics, eyeglasses and related products, fabric, flowers, frames, gifts, glassware, groceries without alcoholic beverages as packaged goods in a grocery store or convenience store, hardware, hobby and craft supplies, ice cream, jewelry, novelties, musical instruments and accessories, newspapers and magazines, office supplies, prepared food not for consumption on the premises, shoes and accessories, souvenirs, sundries, telephones, toys, and video recordings. So with that modification to that district, the property owner was satisfied with any changes that we were going to be making. Again, the two changes that you have before you are ordinance number 08-20, and this has to do with the zoning map amendment to bring the property at 9249 Old Green Bay Road from the B2 Community Business District to the I-1 Institutional District, and ordinance 08-21, and this is for a zoning text amendment for the I-1 district to include the paragraph which I just read into the record. Staff recommends approval of both. Move for approval.
Second with a question.
Motion by Miles, a second by Clyde.
Jean, just for the record, can you state again that the books, the videos, the newspaper, and the magazines cannot possibly include adult bookstores and such?
That's correct. Adult-related or oriented materials are expressly prohibited in the I-1 district.
Thank you.
We have a motion, a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Move approval of 8-21 zoning text amendment.
Motion, a second for approval of zoning text amendment. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. That moves us on to item 9, new business. First item being item A. Consider Trustee Allen's request to discuss public finance issues in Kenosha Unified School District. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we have a responsibility to taxpayers of this village to look out for their best interests. Even though this isn't our responsibility, I think it is our responsibility to look out for their interests and make sure what's best happens for them. After all, they have a very heavy vested interest in the Kenosha Unified School District. They pay 25% of the taxes, and only 12% of the children go to school there. So they are very heavily invested. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, in their article, painted a very gloomy scenario, while the Kenosha News picture wasn't as alarming, but yet it was concerning. What is fact and what is fiction, we don't really know at this point in time. I hope with all the people asking questions out there that we will find out that the journal article was making a mountain out of a molehill. That's my hope. But either way, I hope that neither news outlet has given up on following through on this item. I think it's very important. And if it turns out to be nothing, is nothing, the taxpayers need to know that, to put their minds at ease and to not have a concern. And I think that's very important that they follow up on that. What has transpired that we can surmise? It appears that Kenosha Unified School District has borrowed $9.5 million, and they put that into a trust for post-employment expenses. There was another borrowing, it appears, of over $28 million, for a total of over $37 million in borrowings. It appears that the funds were invested in synthetic CDOs. It appears that the investment value at this time, even though they've borrowed about $38 million, is only $18 million. That's about a loss of $20 million. That's a cause for concern. It appears that there could be a problem. The news also goes on to report, and it appears that they say that the taxpayers are only responsible for $9.5 million of this debt. Who's responsible for the other over $20 million? Who's paying it? Where is it from? Do they have a set of books with the trust accounting in it? That is the responsibility of the taxpayers? Who? The taxpayers have a large investment in the school district, and if that is truly the case, that $20 million has been lost in investments, it would seem that the Village of Pleasant Prairie taxpayers are on the hook for $5 million of it. To put that in perspective, the village's entire tax levy is $8 million. So that means that the way it appears that because of investments, the taxpayers of Pleasant Prairie would get hit for another 60% of the equivalent of their tax bill by the village to unify. Quite alarming. Kathy, if I can ask a couple questions. Maybe you can explain a little bit what Gadsby 45 is requiring and maybe what we're doing or gearing up to do.
Gadsby 45 requires government to evaluate and to value how much it is costing or will cost in the future to provide the retirement benefits other than a pension. So health is the main expense that the village would have or any municipality would have, and dental and that type of thing. So the standard actually, all it does is require us to evaluate it. It does not require us to fund the liability. It actually just put the liability onto our books. The village is required to do this in 2008. The Unified School District was earlier because they were larger. The village has done an evaluation. We used actuary, Milliman Company, to do our evaluation, and that was done last year in the summertime. It actually looks at how much our employees have earned since they started here. The employees are eligible for retirement type benefits. The current population is about a little over 100 employees that are